Good morning, you guys. It's Lisa from Lisa Loves Leather. We're going to talk today about all my thoughts on patina and leather care. So if this interests you, stay tuned because I've got something really cool to show you at the end of this video. This is a dreary Friday morning. I've got my tea today. And I just was like, you know what? I feel like filming today. Let's talk about what's on my mind. And this is on my mind. So anyway, the topic we're going to talk about today is kind of, honestly, controversial in leather care circles. I mean, people are so opinionated about what you should do with your leather. And I don't know. I feel this is going to be a rant, okay? I'm just going to go on about my thoughts on this topic. I am not an expert at all, so keep that in mind. I don't have a degree in chemistry. I am not a leather craftsman by any means, but I'm extremely interested in leather, as you guys know, and I'm always thinking about leather and how things are working at a molecular level and stuff like that. So honestly, guys, over the last 6 years or so, I, in my spare time, Google this stuff and I try to learn as much as I can. And I'm just so surprised at the varying opinions out there from experts. One expert will say this, another expert will say that, and it's like, how do you make up your mind? So I'm going to share some things with you. If you hear me say anything incorrect, please comment down below, educate me. This is a forum for sharing stuff. Please be kind. Hopefully I'm not putting out falsehoods, but again, if I say anything wrong, let me know, educate me. This is just based on what I have learned, okay? So one of the questions is, why do we have to talk about this? Who cares about leather care, right? Well, the reason is leather is, it's not alive, so it needs to be taken care of. And what I have learned is that there's basically two things that leather needs. It needs water for hydration, and it needs oil to moisturize it. And if we take care of our leather in a good way, it's gonna last a lifetime and could be an heirloom that you pass on to the next generation, whatever. In fact, I don't know if you guys know this, but one of the oldest fossils that we've ever discovered in terms of anthropologic things, things that people have used, has been a leather shoe. Back in 2010, they found a leather shoe that was in mint condition, just about, for being 5,500 years old. So that's pretty amazing. That person knew how to take care of their leather. Or, conditions were just right that it got preserved. But anyway, just a really cool thing. So I have talked about this topic before. So if you're interested to hear what I said about a year or two ago, I will link that video below. I have learned some things since then and gotten a little bit more opinionated on other things. So anyway, stay tuned for my my conclusions that I have right now. So I would kind of summarize my philosophy of leather care like this. The pores of leather need to be able to breathe, if you will, okay? And I think what that means is water molecules need to be able to go through and out of the leather hide. I think that's what it means. And I also think the water molecules that are inside the leather pores need to be able to hold, or I think the word might be emulsify, oil. And that would be, maybe some of the original oil from the animal, or perhaps more so the oil from the tanning process when the leather was made. So the goal there is to have some water, some hydration, and some oil for moisturization in the leather, because the leather is not alive. It's not like you can ask the leather to drink a glass of water, right? So it needs water, but it needs oil. So my personal philosophy is that you should not use any products on your leather unless your leather is, very old, or it's misshapen, or it's already damaged. Then maybe you can use a leather product. And if you stick with me to the end of this video, I have found something pretty cool that I want to share with you. that you could use on your leather. If anything's going to touch my leather, I guess it would be this product. So stay tuned for that. You don't want to expose your leather to any kinds of extremes of heat or cold or humidity. In fact, I will not go out of the house with a leather bag generally if it's below 40 degrees because I just feel it compromises, you know, those leather fibers. There are certain bags that I have in my winter fleet, as it were, like they've been out in the cold and I'm willing to take them out again, but those are my maybe less favorites. Anyway, so I'm going to show you how I store my bags. I store my bags in this dresser, okay? This is probably where most people would store their clothing. I, however, do not. I put my bags in this. Don't tell anybody. And I actually have all of my bags in pillowcases because that kind of functions as a dust bag. It keeps the dust off of the bag, which dust and dirt can really harm your leather over time. So I use the pillowcases. Obviously, very thankful to be living in a home that has heat and air conditioning. So try to keep your leather, if possible, between 65 to 70 degrees. And then this is something I learned recently. You want to take your bags out on rotation about once every 2 weeks to keep the leather you know, moving and, you know, so it's not like getting stuck in one place, if you will. And it needs to air out. So every 2 weeks, I should be making sure I rotate bags or at least getting a bag out. You also want to keep your leather bags at 45 to 55% humidity. And what I do is I will run a cool mist vaporizer at night. It's good, especially in the wintertime for our lungs and everything. But I feel, this is again, just me speaking, I'm not an expert, but I feel that cool mist is good for my bags. And especially like if I'm, you know, if there's any bags that are sitting out and they're not stored away, just being exposed to that nice humidity level between 45 and 55 is a good thing. But that said, don't think like, oh, I'll just take my handbag into the bathroom with me when I shower in the morning because it's all nice and humid there and, you know, I'll get that done. That's not a great idea because in your shower, you know, it's very hot, it warms up, and the water is starting to evaporate. And so you don't want your bag to be exposed to those extremes of temperatures, if that makes sense. So I'm all about a cool mist humidifier or vaporizer or whatever at night. Anyway, let's take a look at patina, okay? This is such an interesting thing. All right, so here is a bag that I would say does not have any patina, and the reason is because it has been my little baby. I don't take it out very often. This is a Madewell handbag with my initials on it, okay? So it has not had a lot of exposure to the environment, and what patina is it's kind of like your leather's response to its environment, whether that's oxygen or sunlight or the oils from your skin. That's patina. And sometimes, well, to a lot of people, it's very desirable, and I also really like it, but I have like a love-hate relationship with it because sometimes I don't want it. I know I'm weird. But anyway, this is a bag that I guess I wanted to keep kind of just like it is, and I kind of want it to last for years and years. So I take good care of it and I try to, you know, store it appropriately, whatever, okay? Now, check out this bag that has had a lot more use. Okay, this bag is the same age as that other one, actually. But this bag has gotten a ton of use. I've used it quite a bit. It's been in rainstorms. It's gone everywhere with me. It has all my hand grease and dirt on it, whatever, okay? Look at that patina. Do you see what it is? So there's almost like a coating on that leather. It has a shine to it. And sometimes different bags will form a different color with patina, but sometimes it's like a honey kind of golden feel. Leather is not the only thing that patinas, you guys. Certain rocks will patina, certain metals will patina. That's why if you see like a copper roof on a beautiful church or something, it will turn green over time. It's reacting to its environment. Even an eraser, you guys, my old pencils from when I was a kid, I try using the eraser and I can't, right? Because there's patina, there's like a coating of something on the on the eraser. But if you erase hard, you'll rub through that patina and then you'll get to eraser that you can actually use. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it's true. But anyway, even wood will patina. It, you know, starts to change color, especially if it's like on a banister or something and your hands are on it a lot, it will start to darken. So let me tell you how certain environmental things affect our leather bags, okay? So first of all, oxygen is going to cause the leather to darken, okay? Oxygen will cause leather to darken. And of course, we're all exposed to oxygen, so you can't really stop that. Sunlight will fade your leather. I know there's been some talk out there of people saying like, oh no, it will darken, but the darkening, in my opinion, comes from the oxygen, which you can't escape, and the sunlight will over time fade your leather, okay? When you have a good coating of natural patina, as I do on this bag of mine, I believe that you won't have color transfer, because I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes like if you're wearing, you know, white jeans or something and you have a new bag and it rubs on your jeans, you're gonna have color transfer. Dye from the bag will get onto your white jeans. And I've also had it gone the other way where I might have a bag that's new, you know, without patina, and I might be wearing like a new pair of dark denim jeans, and then I'm walking and it's rubbing, and then I will get a, you know, dye mark from my jeans on my bag. So annoying. So I try really hard to avoid that. But if those, you know, I don't think you have to worry about those kinds of things happening when you have patina on your bag. So this is an option for someone who might want to avoid color transfer onto their clothes. They don't want to worry about that. You could always buy a used bag on eBay or something like that, because if you can see in the photos like, wow, that looks like it's got some patina, then you're gonna not have to worry so much about color transfer. So that's kind of cool. Let me tell you how moisture affects our leather, okay? If you expose a leather bag to water, okay, it's going to eventually evaporate. And when it evaporates, remember how I said that I think what's happening on a molecular level is that in the pores of the leather, there needs to be water molecules, and then emulsified or kind of like held in suspension between those water molecules are oil molecules. Well, if you get water on your bag and then that excessive water starts to evaporate, it will take out of the leather pores the oil that you wanted to keep in there. So that's a disadvantage. If you do get your bag wet, just dry it off as best you can. Don't panic, but do not heat up your leather, because if you do that, it's going to shrink, okay? But anytime you have oils leaving the bag is going to start to dry out and it's going to start to get brittle, and that is not what you want to have happen, okay? Now, I went into this leather craftsman place. I tend to visit places like that often, and I was speaking to this leather craftsman guy, and he said, you know, don't worry about water at all on leather, because it's just like skin, you know what I mean? Water's not going to harm your leather. And I was like, yeah, but you can get marks from the leather, or from the rain. And he was like, no, it's not really from the water droplets as much as it is from the dirt that's already on your bag. Now, I don't fully agree with this guy, and I'll explain in a moment why, but what he was basically saying is, if you get a water droplet on your bag and it starts to move, you know, the water migrates a little bit and then it dries, sometimes you're going to be left with a stain, and usually that stain is on the perimeter, right? You'll get like, you know, you'll be able to see like watermarks, you know? That watermark that you see is really the water having pushed all of the dirt and debris and dust that's kind of in your bag or in the leather a little bit to the side, or, you know, spread it out. So the center of where that water was is kind of like cleaner now. That's why it looks different. And then all of the dirt and debris that was there has now been pushed to the side. So they say you should wipe down your bag regularly to keep it clean, so that if it does get watermarks or get water on it, it won't leave a mark. So now, the reason why I don't fully agree with that man to say that, oh, there's nothing to worry about, is because there's a huge difference between leather and my skin. in terms of rain. Yes, my skin doesn't get affected by rain, but my skin is alive, right? Like my body is always producing oils and I drink water, so it's getting hydration. Whereas the leather doesn't have that luxury, right? Because it's not alive. So I do think we have to treat them differently. What I have found is if I get a watermark on a bag and I'm like upset, I can usually work it out just with the heat of my hand and maybe some of the natural oils in my hand. I don't know. But if I like rub it just a little bit, or, you know, maybe I'm watching television, I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to gently kind of wipe it down with my hand. I have found that the heat of my hand will start to migrate that stain out a little bit more and kind of spread out the, you know, the perimeter of debris from the dirt and dust, and maybe I'll be able to kind of make that little blemish go away or not be seen as easily, if that makes sense. So anyway, let's talk about scratches for a moment. I have a love-hate relationship with scratches. For some of my bags, I am all about the scratches. I think it looks cool. And then for other of my bags, like I don't want any scratches on them. So it just kind of depends. But if I get a scratch on a bag that I don't want any scratches on, and I'm like, what I do honestly is I just use my hands. Again, I will gently kind of wipe or, you know, sort of rub the leather with my hands, and I'll look carefully to see in which direction those fibers are standing up and they're upset because of the scratch, and I will kind of try to get them to go down and relax. And the heat and the maybe oils on my hand seem to be just enough to usually relax those leather fibers to make the scratch go away. I've had some scratches completely go away just from that technique. So just an idea. All right, so now let's talk about leather products, leather care products, and the controversial ingredient list, okay? Now, keep this in mind. Too much of anything, even if it's a good thing, will saturate your leather, and if your leather gets saturated, then it cannot absorb moisture. And here's like an example. Let's say I have a pair of leather boots and I go crazy and I put too much product on them. That's going to saturate the leather, and then what's going to happen is my feet are going to be clammy and uncomfortable. Why is that? It's because the leather won't have any ability to absorb any of the perspiration from my feet because it's already so saturated with product. So you want to be very, very careful there, okay? So all the ingredients that I'm about to talk about, again, differing opinions from experts in this leather field. Some people are singing praises of these certain ingredients and others are not. And I am not kidding you. It is every single thing that I'm about to talk about. I have read experts say that it's great, and I have read experts say that it's not. And I just can't believe it. And it's very hard to draw my own conclusions when I'm seeing such variety in opinions from the experts. So it makes me like just not want to do anything. But let's go through the ingredients. Now, when you get a leather care product, if they tell you what's inside of the product, you're very lucky, and hopefully they're being honest, and hopefully they're revealing it all, but they don't have to do that. I don't believe these products are regulated by the FDA in any way, and therefore they don't have to. The makers do not have to disclose their ingredient list at all. So that makes it also hard to analyze products because you don't really know what's in them. But again, if you stick with me through to the end of this video, I'm going to show you my recent find that if anything is going to touch my leather, I would probably choose this product, okay? So, all right, back to the ingredients. So the first category of ingredients you might see in leather care products are animal oils, okay? Now, I'm gonna tell you the negatives I've heard. I have heard that when you put animal oils into your leather, and this would be like lanolin, which is, it comes out of wool-bearing animals like sheep, okay, it comes out of their skin. It's an oil that is secreted. Or mink oil. Mink oil is from the fatty underlayer of a mink, which kind of looks like a squirrel, okay, a little rodent. And then even neat's foot oil, that comes from the shin and foot bones of cattle. All of those things, they quicken the oxidation process, the reaction to oxygen, and they can cause your leather to go rancid. This is what I have heard from some experts. Others will disagree, but it can make your bag dry out and get brittle. Also, if you apply oil to your bag, some experts are saying oil draws in dirt. It collects dirt onto your bag, and that's going to make your bag look dingy. So for those reasons, I'm avoiding animal oils, okay? Next would be animal fats. Now, animal fats are called tallow. Usually we're talking about beef. And you guys, if you research tallow, tallow doesn't have to be like refrigerated, so it doesn't usually break down in that way, but you have to keep it not exposed to oxygen. If you have a chunk of tallow, it needs to be kept in plastic so that it's not exposed to oxygen. Otherwise, it will start to decompose. So you don't want to put animal fats, you don't want to put tallow on your leather, because if you do that, it's going to be exposed to oxygen, and that tallow is going to start to decompose, and it is just going to affect also the life of your bag. That's going to decompose too. So that's my opinion on animal fats. Now let's talk about ingredients that you might see in the kitchen, okay? Oils like coconut oil or almond oil or olive oil. Now the interesting thing about these items is I believe they are all antibacterial, which is really cool. So that means it kind of retards the growth of bacteria. So that's cool. I can see why some people would like it. But then I've also heard people say, no, avoid food products on your leather because food goes bad over time. You don't want that. So I don't know if the antibacterial properties are only for a certain time and then that trait is gone and then you have, negative effects on your bag. I am not sure, but anyway, it just kind of makes me, a little hesitant. Now, vegetable oil apparently does not have antibacterial qualities. So if you were to put vegetable oil on your bag, I guess it's not good either way. But again, some people say, oh, it's great. So, and these are experts that are saying it. So kind of crazy. Now, some of the leather care experts out there are saying that if you take vinegar, you can mix it with linseed flax oil, and then you'll have a nice cleaning and conditioning agent. Vinegar is antibacterial, but it's also a very strong cleaning agent, and it will dry out your leather. That is why they say you mix it in such a way that it's 1 part vinegar with 2 parts linseed flax oil. However, linseed flax oil, you guys, if you look that up, it is a drying oil. So I don't know, kind of freaks me out, so I won't use that either. And then some people swear by mayonnaise or butter, but you guys, I've also read that does not absorb in the right way. It just kind of gets messy on the outside and it's not good for your leather. So probably best to keep the kitchen stuff in the kitchen, not on your leather. Anyway, now let's talk about wax. This is a big common ingredient, okay? The point of wax, I guess, pretty much, is to repel water off the surface of your bag to kind of help it if it were in a rainstorm. Now, I carry a trash bag in all of my bags because I just don't want to be caught in a rainstorm. I would rather look like a crazy woman toting around a plastic trash bag so as to not harm my investment, unless it's like this guy, because you got to have some where you're like, it just doesn't matter, it's okay. But on the whole, I tend to baby my bags a little bit. But anyway, so wax repels water from the surface, but it prevents the breathing that you want. Remember I talked about how you want to keep those pores open? Well, wax is going to prevent that to some degree, and therefore you're going to have rot and dryness happening underneath. And also, you guys, I don't know, but I can feel the difference between my leather that I haven't treated versus leather that maybe I have put some wax on. It kind of feels different to the touch. It's like rubbery, and I don't like that. So also, it's difficult to remove. If you have, wax and you're like, oh, I don't want to put this on my bag, sorry I did it, you can't get it off. It's kind of annoying. So let me talk about the different kinds of waxes, and then you can form your opinion on this. Paraffin comes from coal or petroleum, not good. Again, some experts are saying not good. Others are praising it. But anyway, carnauba, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, comes from a palm plant in Brazil. And again, yeses and nos. There is one kind of wax though that if anybody is going to say yes to, it seems to be this. Do you know what it is? It's beeswax, okay? So this seems to be the one type of wax that is liked by a lot of people. It doesn't go bad. And the proof of that is they have found some things in shipwrecks under the water in the ocean, brought out, you know, these artifacts, and they have found beeswax that is still in good condition. And they can melt it down and use it. So beeswax really does not go bad, so that's kind of cool. It does experience a thing called bloom, and I'm not really sure what it is, except that over time you can have, if you have wax in your leather, you can have bloom happen where it kind of like comes out as a white, you'll see like white on your leather. It is not mold or anything like that. It is just the wax sort of coming out. I don't know if water draws that out occasionally or it's just the passage of time, but it can just be brushed off or rubbed in, and it is not a bad thing. But beeswax, I guess a lot of people like it because it won't penetrate all the way through those pores. It will tend to stay only on the outer surface. And another advantage I heard of beeswax is that when it is mixed with other things like oil, hopefully the right kind of oil, it will release that oil only at the most critical times, which would be like if you're carrying your bag on a hot day, it will do that. Or if you're like bending and twisting your bag a lot, that's when it will also sort of release those oils. So those seem to be some pluses on the use of beeswax. So anyway, I will put beeswax on my bags, but generally I will reserve it for the corners of a bag. You know, if I say, okay, this is already damaged, it's already been compromised, it already looks bad, then maybe I will put a little bit of wax there because it's forming another barrier on that corner so that if this corner continues to get scuffed, as it were, I've got another layer there. I'm not gonna like the rubbery feeling from that wax, but if it's on the corner and the corner's already bad, then I guess, you know, who kind of cares? So anyway, that's my philosophy there. Other things that you want to avoid are petroleum compounds or derivatives, synthetic compounds like silicone, any kind of solvent, which is gonna like break down something. You want to avoid, guys, toxic, you know, harsh chemicals. It's in some of these leather care products, and even if you're going to wear like gloves or something when you're applying it, you're not going to be wearing gloves every time you carry your bag. So it's really important to avoid those toxic, harmful chemicals. I want to tell you what grease is because there's some people out there who will say, oh, grease, just use grease. Well, grease by definition is a little bit of soap with vegetable oil. And remember how we talked about how vegetable oil, at least to my knowledge, does not have antibacterial properties. So I don't think that's good either. Saddle soap, you've probably heard of this too. Saddle soap is a combination of soap, lanolin, which is not good in my opinion, and beeswax. So I avoid saddle soap too. But again, if your bag is like really damaged and you know it's on its way out of your life because of how damaged it is, then go ahead, try these products because maybe you'll revive some life into it and maybe you're not concerned about how long it lasts. Anyway, so in thinking about all of these things, like how can I find a product that I would be comfortable putting on my bag, given that there are so many reasons to not put these items on the bags. I'm going to tell you what I kind of found in my research, but one of the things that I was pondering, okay, sometimes I have weird thoughts, is I was thinking this, you know, my forehead, all of our foreheads secrete oils, right? And have hydration from the water that we drink. And the oils that we secrete are to prevent wrinkles and stuff like that. As we get older, we don't produce as much oil, and that's why wrinkles form and also oxidation and all that. But I wish we could somehow harness whatever's coming out of our foreheads, right, you guys? Like, that would be awesome. So yeah, the thought crossed my mind, like, maybe I should just rub my bags on my forehead occasionally. But really, I won't because, you know, there's also salt content, and that's not good for leather. So anyway, so since we can't really harness that from a living creature, we have to look at the products that are out there and use the best that we can. Okay, so again, my philosophy with leather is we want to keep those pores open and breathing, to have oil and water molecules in there. Oil staying in, hopefully water molecules, I get the sense, might move in and out. And we don't want to use any products on our leather unless the leather is already damaged, or it's really misshapen, or it's very, very old. Then, go ahead. But anyway, so in my 6 years of casual research online, but frequent research, I mean a couple times a week where I'm like Googling, I found this product. It's called Jack George's Leather Lotion. Okay, so what really grabbed my eye was that it says wax free. I'm like, whoa, really? Because so many of these have wax in them. Now, of course, if you look on the back, there is no ingredient list. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to email these guys and I'm going to tell them all the ingredients that I'm concerned about. And I'm going to give them an opportunity to tell me yes or no, are they in or not. They can't really, obviously, they're not going to want to reveal their ingredient list, but I thought, let's at least see if it checks all the boxes for the things that are controversial that I don't want in there. So here's the email that I got back from them, okay? This guy, John, from Jack George's said, thank you for contacting us at Jack George's. Our lotion is very similar to hand moisturizing lotion and is safe to use on leather. It is made by a very, very reputable supplier that has been making leather care products for over 100 years. To our understanding, there is no safer leather conditioning product available anywhere. Their formula is secret and proprietary, so we don't have an ingredient list, but we do know that it does not contain wax, lanolin, oil, silicone, tallow, food products, toxins, or harmful chemicals. Yes. There are no petroleum-based ingredients in the lotion. It is largely made of water, but water is only harmful to leather if it displaces the oils that are within the leather. Remember I was talking about that? Such as in a heavy downpour or sitting in puddles. In lotion, it will not displace the natural oils, so that shouldn't be a concern. Please let us know if you have any further questions. Thank you. So anyway, I said, sounds good. I want to check this out. So they mailed me a bottle for free to review here on the channel. And here's what I thought about it after applying. So they said you can apply it with your hands. I chose not to, but I'm still really glad that that is the case. They said there's no odor, and I sort of agree, sort of disagree. There is no odor on, you can't smell it when it's on the bag, whatever. But, if you put your nose right, there's a faint smell, but it's nothing bad. Anyway, it is supposed to give luster and longevity with no color change. And I'm guessing that this contains probably 2 to 3 ingredients. And the reason why I think this is because, you guys, I had my samples of leather that I was practicing on, as I do with products. And after I applied, I then looked at it under my microscope, which I do. I look at leather under microscopes, you guys, in my spare time. I know I'm weird. And I was fascinated to see kind of like these sprinkles on it, kind of like sparkles, if you will. And I think I saw 2 to 3 different colored sparkles, and that probably is because those particular ingredients are refracting the light in a certain way. So that was interesting. They were super small. I could see them going into like the hair follicles and the pores of the leather. And then after drying, I buffed it as it suggested, and the sprinkles or the whatever on top kind of went away, but those that were in stayed. So I don't know what those are, but I'm therefore guessing that there is probably 2 to 3 ingredients of something in here, and that's how it worked. You don't see any of those sparkles, to the naked eye. No, goodness no. This is not the bag I did it on, but you don't see any sparkles. It's only under a high-powered magnifying glass that I was able to see the presence of those probably 2 to 3 ingredients and how they were refracting the light differently. So anyway, I thought that was really cool. So if anything is going to touch my leather ever, I think it's going to be this product, just because I can feel good that it's not, doesn't have any of the controversial ingredients. So anyway, if you would like to pick up a bottle of this yourself, go to jackgeorges with an S on the end.com, and I couldn't find it under their menus, so you actually have to search in their website. Just type in leather lotion and it should come up. An 8-ounce bottle is $12. They also have leather bags, so be sure to check those out as well. And there's a new little thing going on that if you sign up to receive their like promotional emails and stuff through your Facebook Messenger, you will get $10 credit to use in the store, so, or online. So anyway, thank you for listening to my rant on leather care and some of my maybe unconventional opinions on these things. If you disagree with me, or you have a certain product that you want me to test out, or you want me to review a leather bag, please comment down below. I am learning constantly, and I will change my methods as soon as I hear compelling information that makes me think otherwise. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.